Next topic, the Baltimore Ravens. Now,
is it Baltimore or Baltimore?
No, it's
Baltimore.
Baltimore.
It's Baltimore,
It's,
so.
it's a Joel thing.
it's Baltimore.
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 I always wanted to ask you that. Baltimore or Baltimore?
The Baltimore.
It's ball.
It's the same thing.
Like, is it
respect them.
basketball?
Baltimore.
You need the BAL.
Baltimore.
Basketball?
Is it Baltimore?
Well, it's
Baltimore.
ball.
Ball.
There you go.
Ball.
Baltimore.
It can be
Baltimore.
bowl.
Baltimore.
However you feel comfortable saying it.
It's almost
No
definitely
shame.
Baltimore.
You're blatantly saying it
No
wrong.
grammar police out here. No
Well,
shame in the
Pronunciation.
grammar. The Ravens blown
tell it to the
2
people
leads
that live in
already.
Baltimore.
It's like calling me River. No, for real. Like,
When you
pronouncing
used
the
to call
I.
Jair Alexander Jairi,
Jair.
it's just Baltimore.
Baltimore.
There you go.
Learning.
They've blown 2 leads already this year
They
against
have.
the Dolphins,
Floor is yours,
which
buddy.
should have never
They
happened.
have.
We'll understand that. But listen, I'll say this about the Ravens: 2 blown leads this season so far. First one against the Dolphins. That one
Hilarious.
is bad, really, really bad.
Horrible.
Defensive malfunction, blown coverages, 100%. They get the blame for that. Versus the Bills, they were up 20-3. No instance in this game that I feel like they had control.
I saw you say that.
Versus the Dolphins, I felt like, no, they have control. This game is theirs. Versus the Bills, 2 early turnovers. They scored 10 points off those turnovers, 10 points, and they had a successful touchdown drive in itself that gave them additional 7. So, they had 17 points on the board. But the Ravens' drives really weren't that impressive. First 4 drives they scored on. But after that, it was 3 punts, 2 3-and-outs, and the other 2 drives they started off with penalized. And that's why they had those 3-and-outs. And 2 interceptions by Lamar, but even those interceptions by Lamar, they weren't bad interceptions. One of them was a great play by Jordan Poyer breaking it on the ball. Devin Duvernay was wide open in the end zone. That was the 4th and goal, the last play on their drive.
I didn't love that. I didn't love that interception
It was
at all.
4th down. I mean,
No, but
he's backing up. He has to throw it in the end zone.
I don't love it because if he throws it away,
It's 4th down.
okay, that's fine.
But you're saying you get the 2 instead of the 20?
Yes, exactly.
But you get that chance to get a touchdown.
But also, I'll let you finish before I say my thoughts. Go ahead.
I thought that was a great play on the ball by Jordan Poyer. That's for one. And then the other interception, Jordan Poyer, he had it as well. It was just tipped. It was tipped. The ball hit the defensive lineman's
That was
helmet.
a bad throw.
I don't know if it was a bad throw. The weather conditions just slippery. The
Fair
ball
enough.
slipped.
I'm being a harsh
I don't
critic.
feel like any of those interceptions. I look at Lamar and like, wow, terrible decision. Lamar played a fairly good game. I thought he was okay, but the offense is really not able to get anything. And the reason for that is because they can't run the ball. And I also feel like the Bills them going up against a pretty good defense, one of the better ones in the league. These receivers don't scare anybody. They were playing a little soft zone cover 3, letting all this underneath stuff. They were giving it up. Rashad Bateman, although he's been better this year and he so far has had a good season, he's not scaring any defense. He's not somebody defense's game plan for.
Mark Andrews is Mark
Devin
Andrews.
Duvernay's not that either. Mark Andrews is a fantastic tight end, but when he's being guarded by Marlon Humphrey Mark Andrews, when he's being guarded by guys like Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, which they're the top linebacker duo in the NFL, it's hard for him to get going, and I think they showcased it. The 4th and goal play by Lamar on that drive, you have to make a play there, like whatever, but what stood out to me was a 2nd and goal play where Tremaine Edmonds filled the gap, and then Matt Milano came off the edge and just tackled J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
That was the game-saving play.
3-yard loss.
People want to talk about the John Harbaugh not kicking a field goal. I thought it was the right decision because he understands that they can beat us off a touchdown. And guess what? People will look at the final score and say, 23-20. Ravens could have kicked the field goal and the game would have been tied. The Bills could have scored a touchdown easily. They would have. They were at the goal line.
Yeah.
They were within the 5-yard line, they chewed clock. And if it wasn't for Adolfo Owe, which it was clear the Ravens were going to let Devin Singletary score, he tackles him, which messes everything up. But the Bills were in clear control of scoring on that drive. John Harbaugh knows this defense is not good. The Ravens defense is not good. Josh Allen will go down the field and score a touchdown and beat us. So guess what? I'm going to get ahead of the curve. I have one of the best quarterbacks in the league. We're going to go for it on 4th down. It's 4th and 2. Let's go for it. Fuck kicking the field goal. Let's go for it. Unfortunately, they didn't get it, but people are questioning John Harbaugh's decision. I thought it was the right decision. And although on paper this goes down as a blown lead, I frankly did not watch this game and think that the Ravens had control of it. I mean, I didn't feel like, even when they were up 23, I didn't feel like, oh, the Ravens are clearly the better team right now. I just felt like some things didn't go Buffalo's way, but Buffalo started rolling. Right before that first half, they scored, and then in the second half, they started rolling. I never felt like the Ravens were the better team in this game. I felt like Buffalo started off slow, but I didn't think the Ravens dominated in any facet in this game. Offensive, defensive line, nowhere really.
For me, just to start off the game in the beginning, like you said, a lot of turnovers. Josh Allen just looked really, really bad. It was just the whole offense in general for the Bills looked really bad. Credit to the defense for the Bills. It's been pretty fucking amazing throughout the year.
With the rookies and young players.
And this team looks on offense usually plays well outside of that game. In the Miami game, it was really fucking hot. But this team looks as complete as any team in the league. For Baltimore, coming into the season, we all thought this would be an elite group. Maybe not elite, but we thought this would be a great
one of the
defense.
Best secondaries in the league.
Yeah.
And they've just been past 2 weeks failing Lamar. And I say failing Lamar is because he's put on MVP performance after MVP performance. He's been probably the best quarterback in the league through these first 4 games. And I know he threw 2 interceptions, but like you said, a lot of that, the Bills' defense ended up being great. Josh Allen ended up in the second half getting it done for his team. They chewed clock. They had a chance to score before even chewing the clock. But for the Ravens, this defense has to step up. Last 2 weeks, we can call these kind of like similar to playoff games. These are important games in the regular season, big-time games against 2 teams you possibly might see in the playoffs. You blow the big lead against Miami defense, and then against the Bills, you couldn't get key stops, defense. Offensively, Lamar wasn't great, but he made some struggles, but still. Lamar's been carrying his team for 4 weeks. And come playoff time, this stuff like this scares me because you need your defense to be in your A game against the AFC with some high-powered offense. The Dolphins, the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and the Bills, just to name a few. So I think right now the defense has got to get it together. We thought this would be the best secondary, or one of the best secondaries in the NFL. It has not been. They need to get it together.
Definitely need to get it together. You want to go, Drew? Sorry.
Go ahead, man.
I think you guys touched on it. First game, Miami, it's all on the defense, right? If you want to nitpick and say you have to score more in the second half, you scored 28 in the first half, 10 in the second half. 38 points gets you a lot of wins in this league, right?
They touched the ball a decent amount.
They did, no, without a, yeah, 20 in the first half, 10 in the second half.
There's a brand new fantasy app. It's called Boom Fantasy. You got over-unders, player props. You got matchups. This player versus that player. That's personally my favorite. And long shots. You can win 40 times your money. And if I'm not mistaken, Joel, NBA is coming soon.
Yes, sir. NBA will be in the app in the next 10 days or so. I believe opening night is October 19th, so we'll have stuff up a few days beforehand. That's going to be fun because we have it every night. You don't have to wait till Monday, Thursday.
Did you get your code? For the League Pass?
I did get my code for the League Pass.
I got my code too.
Yep, that's amazing.
That's from 2K, right?
Yes.
That's tough.
Amazing.
That's fire.
So if you guys haven't already, download the Boom Fantasy app right now. Link is in our description or in the caption wherever you're watching.
That's what I'm saying.
The one thing I will give the credit is that Lamar did get points. Got the field goal and put him in a position to win the game.
Yeah, and
he didn't convert on third downs though.
Correct. Yeah, no, and
facts.
listen, this is back-to-back games where they had chances to put it away and they didn't. In the Miami game, they went down the field, they picked up 30, 40 yards, got in Justin Tucker range, and just barely. It was a 50-plus, 55-yard field goal, whatever it was. Tucker, obviously one of the best of all time, hits that kick. And then this previous game where you're second and goal on the 2-yard line, you run the ball, lose 3 yards. I think they ran the ball again, got nothing, and then it was fourth down, and it's Lamar make a play. And to what you said, Joel, I agree. You have Lamar Jackson. He has proven time after time. Fourth and short, he makes plays happen. He's probably the best playmaking quarterback in the league. Him, Josh Allen, Mahomes, all in that elite tier. So I don't have any problem putting the game in the hands of your best player. And to your credit, or to your point, Joel, the Bills had just scored 3 possessions in a row. The Ravens started the game with 4 possessions, with 4 scoring possessions. The Bills ended the game with 4 scoring possessions.
And 2 of them off a great field position, too.
For sure. So you have a Buffalo offense that started to click in the second half. So if I'm John Harbaugh, I know at the minimum, Josh Allen's going to go down and get me 3 points. So now it's a coin flip game. Am I going to get the ball in overtime, or is Josh Allen going to get the ball?
Where's the trust in your boys?
What boys?
The defense.
The defense that let up 28 in the fourth
I'm
quarter.
not
Defense that just allowed 3 straight scoring drives.
I'm not disagreeing. I get you. You want to put your trust and whole faith in Lamar because yes, he's your best player. But trust the defense.
He's your guy.
Give them a chance to play with the lead.
Like,
To put the pressure on them to right the wrongs of what happened with Miami.
I feel like the Bills would have did the same thing.
The Bills would have scored a touchdown. They kneeled
thing
on the
is,
1 yard line.
We don't know that per se. Yeah, they definitely drove down.
we don't
it
know
was a
that.
12-yard, 77-yard
It was
drive.
clicking. That
12
second half.
77
It was
yard
theirs, bro.
One thing to their credit too, the Bills know how to put together a long drive. Those guys are just absolutely all world at that. But that's besides the point I'm trying to make right now. You have the best kicker in the game. You know you're going up 3. It's a guaranteed at that point.
I just think, like, I know what you're saying, but anybody in John Harbaugh's situation with that talented quarterback is going for it.
And when you
Allen,
have
Mahomes,
if you don't
Lamar,
have Josh on the other side, if you have
You're
just
going
an
for
average quarterback, I get taking 3. When you have the best of the best
who's
on the
been
other
clicking
side,
all second half, like it's been their half.
But you got to look at it like this. The Ravens offense was not clicking all second half.
Trust your playmaker.
Get any points on the board.
yeah, but at this point it's the defense because you already
now
know
you're
you
trusting
have
on the
3.
defense
What you
that's
guys
been
are saying
folding on
is,
you.
I'm not saying you guys aren't making fair points. You guys are making fair points. My thing is, we saw it happen against Miami. He completely showed a lack of faith in his defense. For valid reason, you could say, but why not give them the chance to show it? It's still early in the season. Why not put the pressure on them to maybe spark something in them? Yes, they ended up kicking a field goal, but then let's go into overtime.
But then it's a coin toss.
It's,
If Josh Allen gets the ball,
It's
come
over.
on.
But that's fine. But they ended up losing regardless, so what does it even matter?
I know because if you score the touchdown there, though, then it's different.
But it didn't happen. And then that throw by Lamar, to get back to the point, throw it out of bounds.
No.
Throw it out of bounds.
Don't throw it out of bounds, bro.
But why? All right, no, fine. Because instead now of having the Bills work at the
Playing
2,
conservative, man.
You're playing at that point. You're playing for a tie.
No, what they if you're playing conservative, you kick the field goal. If you're playing conservative,
if you throw it out of bounds, you're playing for a tie.
not necessarily. If
It's 20-20.
if you throw it out
You're
of
not
bounds,
giving your
and you
chance a guy to
understand-
make a play.
But then now you're putting your defense in a worse
Devin
position.
Duvernay was wide open.
At the beginning, he saw him late.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the
But
beginning
he
of the
was
play,
wide
I
open.
was
Like,
gonna say it seemed as if I remember the corner was on Devin Duvernay, and then Poyer comes in.
Lamar was late to the ball.
if Poyer,
it was a late pass.
nobody was on Duvernay. Poyer came in. Poyer made a fantastic play. Lamar threw it a tad
I
bit
thought
late.
that
He said
corner
in the
was
press
on.
conference too. He said if I saw that right when I hiked the ball, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah, like Lamar threw it a tad bit late. There's no doubt. But Jordan Poyer made an excellent play. He
did.
read that. Like that wasn't his initial assignment, but he read that and went over
But
there.
that interception was pretty bad.
Where else are you gonna throw it?
you don't throw it out of bounds, bro.
An
You don't.
incompletion was more beneficial than an interception, and that's the truth.
Wait, how come though? Wait, I just want to
I mean, I've said it already. If
because you
want,
start at the 2-yard line versus the 20-yard line.
correct.
But the Bills starting their offensive drive at the 20 versus the 2. Just that interception, you're right. Never
Thank
mind.
you. That's
I got lost for a second.
it's pretty
No,
self-explanatory.
yeah,
I'm glad.
you're
Yeah,
right.
word.
I understand.
I just think that now
Bro's about to cook
put
them and then realize, damn.
You put the defense in a worse position that you already said, all right, I don't trust you guys. I'm going to put the faith in Lamar. Now we're getting
As you
worse
should.
field position. I don't disagree. But I just think you take the points, trust the defense, at least give them a lead.
But the
Aren't
defense been
you-
getting cooked all second half.
Second
Wait, aren't
half.
you in a sense
Which is the most
trusting the
important.
defense anyway? Like regardless of the situation, you're trusting the defense to
Not
get a
re-
stop in that
I
situation.
don't think so.
There's 4 minutes left on the clock. It's not like there's 1 minute left. There's 4 minutes left.
Yeah, that's a
There
long
was
ass
really
time.
no reason to go for it on
There's
fourth.
4 minutes left. If
They could
you're
not stop
trusting,
them.
you're trusting the defense. Technically, it's not like you're losing the game. It's tied 20-20. The Ravens can still get a stop defensively.
It's an interesting way to look at it, and
I just
it's
don't
an-
know what
it's
the
an ama-
difference
it's-
would have been if it was 23-20 versus 20-20.
You're playing with a lead. You're
And
playing
what
with
does
a
that
lead.
do?
I guess what he's saying is
And now
since
the
it's-
pressure's on them.
since it's
there was
20 to
no
20,
pressure on the Bills there to score.
you can win two ways. If it was 23-20, they would just have to score. That's
There
what I
was
think he's
no
saying.
pressure on the Bills offense, 20-20, ball at
Yeah,
the
okay, I get what
20.
you're saying.
I feel like we've
Does that
seen the
pressure
Bills.
matter?
I feel like the Bills have
23
seen
to
they
20.
thrive
It's
under
not that
pressure.
not that Josh Allen's pressured, no way. But maybe the other players
Still-
are
still
feeling a
gotta
little
trust
bit of
the defense
pressure.
has been folding
Maybe they're
on you.
playing a little bit tight, saying that, oh man, we really have to make a play. Gains on the line here. I don't know. That's just me. I
Yeah,
would've
but what
taken
about the
3.
alternative? The alternative scenario where they score a touchdown and now the Bills feel pressure to get a touchdown,
course, listen,
and not a field goal.
No, for sure.
But that's on the case. They tried that option. They tried that option and it didn't work.
If they weren't playing the Bills, I'd be on your side. If they weren't playing the Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, the top,
We can't pretend like Baltimore's a regular team, though. We know
Their
Baltimore's
defense
not a
is
regular
ass.
No,
team.
but that's fine. But we know it's Josh Allen. Doesn't matter who
This
he's
ain't a
playing.
regular
He's gonna
Defensively,
go
the
down
Ravens
the
are
field.
definitely regular.
Say it one more time.
Yeah, defensively for sure.
The Ravens are definitely
Mid.
regular.
I'm with you there.
Very mid.
I'm with you.
You have, you have
Big
like
disappointment.
maybe they get better over time. Kyle Hamilton's a rookie. Marcus Williams first year on
That's
the
why
defense.
they can't generate pressure.
Marlon Humphrey.
Really.
Yeah, that's their issue.
They really
'cause
can't
They
do
really
that.
can't. And that was an issue last year. I think their leading sack was 8. I think that was the first
Campbell?
round the most sacks, huh?
Was that Campbell?
Nah, I think it was
Away?
Owe. Yeah, I think he had 8 sacks last
They
year.
can't generate
Nice.
any pressure. That's really the real thing about Baltimore, and it's happened in Miami. They just can't generate pressure. That's why even when they're playing with the leads, they blitz because they can't get to
They
the
have no
quarterback.
choice.
They haven't had
And
an elite
Josh
passer
Allen,
since
and
Terrell
that's
Suggs.
why I had no issue with John Harbaugh going for it, because if you're not able to pressure Josh Allen, he's gonna pick you
Yes,
apart anyway.
without a
It
doubt.
doesn't really matter. Josh Allen's gonna get that. I think it's a good time for the Bills. I mean, before this game, they had been 0-7 in games decided by one score. So this
actually crazy.
now breaks that, because they usually blow teams out or the games are not close, or So I had no problem. But to Drew's point, last year the Ravens were 8-3. They lost 6 straight, and 5 of those were by one score, by 3 points or
It
less.
was with Huntley
Which
too.
means
without
that a lot
Lamar,
of the Ravens games do end with a decision being on Harbaugh and then picking a decision. And although mathematically it is correct, because by any analytics that tell you whatever, like what to do in certain situations, going for it was the right situation. But even in those situations, John Harbaugh has been wrong. At least last year he was wrong a lot when the math was on his side.
I will say, because obviously I had a Ravens agenda coming into the season. I'm not
The Bengals
entirely
are better. Yep, I know.
okay. I'm not entirely worried yet, right? You still have Lamar Jackson, who's in the MVP
But that's
race.
all they have.
You still, you got J.K. Dobbins back. He had 2 touchdowns last week. You have
He
Mark
was not a
Andrews.
good rusher.
I know, but
last
it's
week.
his
He'll be
first game
fine.
back in over a year. Like, he hasn't played
I
football. You're
understand, but
getting
the
him
2
back.
touchdowns were kind of like
You've had Gus
whatever.
Edwards. You've had Devontae Freeman. Like, you've had guys
has
who
been
are
out
on
too.
their last legs. What?
Gus has been out too.
Oh,
Justice
sorry,
Hill.
Justice Hill. That's what I meant to say.
He's
Justice
okay.
Hill.
He's okay.
So you finally have your stud running back. His rookie year was phenomenal. He was fantastic his rookie year. Now he's getting back. I still believe in Harbaugh. And really, just the bank. Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
Yeah.
John
That's what you
Harbaugh.
get for making fun of how I pronounce Baltimore.
But you
is
also
that not how it's
said
pronounced?
it's Harbaugh.
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 Is that right?
No, he said Harbaugh.
Harbaugh.
He said Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh.
Regardless, and
Harbaugh.
it's only
It's
the
Harbaugh.
Bengals in the AFC North.
Not really.
I'm not worried about the Steelers.
Yes,
I'm
it
really
is.
not
Worried
worried
about the Browns?
Not
Okay.
really.
Buying stock. What,
I
Mojo?
saw him lost a
Stock it
14
up?
point with 2 minutes left to the Jets. I'm
And-
not buying it.
Okay. You eat your words.
Will
Crow.
I?
You eat crow.
You're a Cleveland stan.
I think they'll be fun. I think they might win the division.
They have the
Oh my
toughest
God.
schedule going forward.
Never mind.
I
Never fucking mind. Ah, well, you
still
never
believe
know.
in Baltimore, man.
Yeah, I know.
I still
Blowing
believe in
leads
them.
and shit. So
Not as
do you
much as I
think
believe
they'll-
in Cincinnati. You know what's the thing about Cincinnati? Cincinnati's defense is one of the
been
best
great.
in the league right
It's
now.
been great.
And
They
their
carried
offense
Joe Burrow last
hasn't
playoffs.
even clicked yet. When their
the
offense
O-line
clicks,
stinks.
they're going to clearly win this division.
Just